At 16, I came home to find my stuff thrown in the basement, and my sister and her boyfriend already set up in my room. When I confronted my parents, my dad snapped, "You'll sleep down there and still pay rent. Your sister deserves that room more than you do." I was 16 when I came home from school and found my bedroom empty. Not empty like someone cleaned it. Empty like someone erased me. My bed, my desk, my clothes, my posters, all of it had been dragged downstairs and dumped in the unfinished basement. The mattress was leaning against the water heater. My clothes were in trash bags on the concrete floor. My school textbooks were scattered next to a pile of old paint cans. My alarm clock was sitting in a puddle from a pipe that leaked every time someone used the upstairs shower. I went upstairs to my room, and my sister Bridget was already in there with her boyfriend Liam. They'd set up a full bedroom. New sheets, a TV mounted on the wall, a mini fridge in the corner, and a shoe rack by the door. Bridget had put up string lights and hung a tapestry over my closet door like she'd been planning this for weeks. Liam was sitting on what used to be my bed playing video games like he paid the mortgage. I asked Bridget what was going on. She didn't even look up. Mom and Dad said I could have the room. Liam's staying over more now and we need the space. I went to find my parents. Dad was in the kitchen drinking coffee. I told him my stuff was in the basement and asked why. He didn't flinch. "Your sister needs a proper room. She's 19 and she has a partner. You're 16. You'll be fine in the basement." I told him the basement didn't have a door. It didn't have heat. The floor was bare concrete and there were spiders everywhere. He shrugged. "Put a curtain up. You'll sleep down there and you'll still pay your rent. Your sister deserves that room more than you do. I've been paying $300 a month since I turned 15. I worked at a tire shop after school and on Saturdays. I'd come home covered in grease, eat whatever was left in the fridge, do my homework, and go to bed. My parents said the rent was to teach me responsibility. They never asked how school was going. They never asked if I was tired. They just took the money and told me it was building character. Bridget didn't pay a cent. She hadn't worked in over a year. Her last job was a hostess gig she quit after 2 weeks because the manager asked her to show up on time. Liam worked part-time at a vape shop. Between the two of them, they contributed nothing to the house. Not rent, not groceries, not a single bill. But they got my room. I went to Mom. She was folding laundry in the living room. I asked her if she knew about the switch. She nodded without looking at me. Bridget asked and we thought it made sense. "You're younger, you don't need as much." I asked her how it made sense that I pay rent for a basement with no walls while Bridget and her boyfriend live upstairs for free. She got annoyed. "Stop making everything about money. We're a family." I stopped talking. I went to the basement, set up my mattress on the floor, hung a shower curtain across the stairway opening, and sat there. I could hear Bridget and Liam laughing upstairs in my room. That was a Monday. By Friday, I had a plan. I called my Uncle Rich, my mom's brother. He lived about 40 minutes away in a small house near the highway. He was the only person in my family who ever treated me like I existed. I told him what happened. He went quiet for a long time, then said, "Pack a bag. I'll pick you up Sunday morning." I didn't tell my parents. On Sunday at 7 a.m., I put my clothes in a duffel bag, grabbed my school stuff, and walked out the front door. Uncle Rich was parked at the curb. He didn't ask questions. He just popped the trunk and helped me load my bag. I got in, and we drove away. Nobody in the house was awake. Nobody noticed for hours. I texted Dad from the car. "I moved out. I'll be staying with Uncle Rich. Don't worry about the rent." He didn't reply for 6 hours. When he did, it was one sentence. "You're being dramatic." Mom called that night. She wasn't worried. She was angry. "You left without telling us. That's disrespectful." I asked her if throwing my belongings in a basement was respectful. She said it was different. I asked how. She hung up. Uncle Rich gave me a room with a real door, a real bed, and a real window. He didn't charge me rent. He told me to save my money. I kept working at the tire shop. I enrolled at the high school near his house. I finished junior year and senior year without missing a single day. I saved $11,000 by the time I graduated. I got into a trade program for HVAC and started working full-time at 19. By 21, I was making more than both my parents. Bridget called me once. During that time, she wanted $500 because Liam wrecked his car and they needed a ride. I said no. She told Mom. Mom called and said I was holding a grudge. I said I was holding a boundary. Dad called a year later when the furnace broke. He asked if I could come fix it since I was in the trade now. I told him my rate was $120 an hour with a 2-hour minimum. He hired someone else.